Hello, people of Earth. I am Ramshackle, and today I'm going to be showing you another way of doing my sort of automatic drawing technique. So, to start, I am using a Moleskine art sketchbook. I would recommend you use something with this weight of paper or heavier. Canson makes a nice Bristol that you can use if you're going to do it with fountain pens. Otherwise, you can use pigment liners, but you're not going to get quite the same results. I use a TWSBI Eco Fine, or Extra Fine, sorry. A TWSBI Eco Fine and a Muji pen, which is about the same size as the TWSBI Eco Fine. But they have different inks in them. These two have Noodler's black, which is like semi-transparent, and then this one has the platinum carbon ink in it, which is very opaque. So this creates a lot bolder line than this one does, even though they have the same size nib. You basically want some transparent, semi-transparent kind of lines, and then some really opaque stuff too. So this is what I would recommend. I'll put links in the description for all the supplies I use, so if you want to pick up the same stuff I have, you totally can. So yeah, our strategy here is, because we're doing an automatic drawing, and automatic drawing by nature is, very improvisational. So I like to do it with a bit of a framework just to get me started, and then I kind of just free flow on top of that. So I'll show you how I do it, and hopefully this will work for you. I decided today to do a drawing of a couch, just because I don't know, it's fun, right? I just thought it'd be fun, so that's what I'm doing. You want to kind of leave some gaps in your line work. So what I do is I kind of imagine the rule of thirds, like a line across here, a line across here, here, and here over the whole thing, right? And then I'm just going to start by drawing, like, this is the front of one of the arms of a couch, right? And this is not going to be a couch at the end. It's going to be very much a automatic drawing, but this is going to give me, we'll see how it turns out, right? And this is going to give me like a sort of a jumping off point, a base to start with. So yeah, there's the other arm doing sort of a big stuffed couch. We're going to draw the sort of front. I don't know what this part of it, I don't know my couch anatomy, so, I don't know what this part of the couch is called. And then I'm going to go with two cushions because it's a little easier. We're just going to draw the front of the cushions here. Do that there, and then something kind of like that. We're going to give this a little line there so it looks like it's, a little more three-dimensional. And then I think I want to see the bottom of the couch here, so I'm going to make sure I'm not drawing the top of the cushions or anything like that. I'm going to just start the back kind of over here, like this. Give it a little bit of, just put this line over from there like that, so that it gets that 3D effect. And then the top of the arm there, just like that. And this is very much not automatic drawing right here. This is just kind of drawing without a sketch, right? And we're gonna try and match these lines to each other. You see I messed up there, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. It's going to be very surreal and abstract at the end. So and then something like here, a little here, very straight on. Yeah, and like I said, these aren't the, they don't line up perfectly, but it's okay. Doesn't have to be perfect. We'll give it some legs. Some little boops. Something like that. Alright, so I've got my rule of thirds I wanted this kind of section to intersect with the upper line right here. And this one to kind of intersect with the lower. Just a real vague composition, right? So at this point, we're going to switch pens. I'm going to put away the extra fine. And then I think I'm going to start doing a little bit of automatic drawing with this fine, still with the semi-transparent ink. So yeah, you don't want to be thinking about how to make it look a specific way. You want to be just drawing lines where it like maybe feels good. And I'm going to try to avoid going to the edge of the page. I'm going to leave about a ½ inch here. So I'm just going to draw, nice little line down here. Something like that. And some stuff. Just whatever, extend the leg there. Draw like these bumps sticking down. And you can do yours completely differently. I'm going to do kind of a biomechanical look probably, because that's usually where my brain goes. But if yours comes out completely differently, maybe you want to draw a robot couch or something, because that's how your brain just kind of goes, then that's totally fine. You can do it however you want. But yeah, just letting the lines flow out. Or just kind of, like even if your hand position dictates where it goes, that's totally fine, Something like this. But yeah, so I'm going to go through the whole thing and just kind of add details where I feel like it, and just try and not think too much about it, zone out a little bit, get into the, a lot of people call it a flow state, and yeah, and we'll see what it ends up looking like. I just want to take a minute while this part is playing here, just to thank everyone who's subscribed and liked the videos, and just if you're enjoying this, consider subscribing, and yeah, do me a favor, hit the like button. It helps the videos rank better with the YouTube algorithm. And yeah, I also started a Patreon recently, and if you feel like contributing to that, there'll be a link in the description. So yeah, thanks a lot. All right, so now that we have some of these medium lines put in, I made a point when I was doing this not to shade anything, because we're going to use the thinner liner for shading, but also this just gives you an idea of how you can just draw some outlines, and you don't have to necessarily worry about the shading while you're doing that. And then you can use these go through and shade out all these just random shapes that you've drawn. I think it's a really good approach. So what we're going to do now, we're going to take out our extra fine pen again, and we're going to go through and start some finer details, just to give it a little more texture, variation in line width. These are going to be more like surface textures, I guess, is what I'm aiming for here. But also, you know, at the same time, you want to keep your, you know, keep your intentions to a minimum and just sort of try and, you know, get into that flow state. So I'm going to go through and do all those little small details, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right.
So I think the best advice I can give for this part of it, the actual automatic drawing technique, is to kind of try and, you know, I guess space out a little bit. I think I learned how to do this a lot by just kind of mindlessly doodling on a, you know, a desktop calendar. And, you know, try not to think about anything. It's almost like meditation, right? You want to just blank out your mind and just kind of draw what feels good. You know, if like it feels good to draw a curved line, just draw a curved line there, you know, and it doesn't have to relate to anything. They can cross over other lines if you want. Like, there's really no rules to it. And I think it helps you, you know, just be very present, and it helps to, you know, it helps you forget about, you know, all the stuff that's going on. You know, when you're there in the moment, just drawing lines, you're not worried about your bills or, you know, some weird thing you said in math class, you know, 15 years ago, or any of that kind of stuff. You know, it's just you, the pen, the paper, and nothing else really. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
All right, so there is the contour lining. Now we are going to switch to the opaque ink with a little bit larger nib. You can do this with like a extra fine, a fine, and a medium too if you want. I've been thinking about getting a medium nib for doing this, but what I'm going to do now is kind of come through with the thicker, more opaque line and do like some peripheral lining. Basically just go over like the outlines of the big shapes, you know, anything I want to like kind of stand out. Yeah, so we're going to do that real quick here, and then we'll move on to the final stage, which is line shading and maybe adding just a little like simple background.
This part's especially fun for me anyways, because there's something just really, really satisfying about, you know, taking a thicker pen and just going around the outside edges of everything. It's very cathartic, and yeah, I don't know, I like it. I think it'd be even a little more satisfying with a thicker, like a medium nib. So one of these days I'll get around to ordering a little bit bigger pen, and we can try that out.
All right. We have some sort of outlining done here. We're going to switch back to our extra fine with transparent ink again. And what we're going to do is kind of start doing some of this line shading. I'm going to start over here, and I'll just kind of show you how I do it. Just kind of imagine like the simple shapes of, you know, the object, right? Like, so this is a big cylinder here, so I'm just gonna, as I'm shading, I'm just gonna pull lines in the direction of the curve roughly, of this cylinder here. And you'll see it doesn't have to be perfect, you know. It's I like kind of a sloppy style of line shading personally. This is hatching too. This isn't crotch. This isn't cross hatching. So you just want to do these individual lines like that, and then just let the top edge be a highlight. And you're just going to be using basic light source like drawing techniques. You know, you imagine your sun's up here or wherever you want it, and just put the shadows in from there. And you can get as crazy with this part as you want. You can do cast shadows if you want. Go nuts, you know. You can shade it with watercolor or anything. I like to do line shading, and that's what I'm going to stick to here. But you know, it's a creative process. You can do it however you want. So yeah. Anyways, I'm gonna finish this up, and then we'll talk about the next step.
You know, make sure you take your time with this this part, the shading. It's always good to you know, stop and make sure your hatching is going in the right direction, or you know, just, you know, step back and kind of look at the picture as a whole. And yeah, and just go with the flow. If you try and force it too much, you can end up, I don't know, kind of maybe overworking it. And definitely, if there's a part that's not turning out how you wanted it to, just move on. Don't sit there. A lot of people have a tendency to, you know, if they've made a mistake in a piece of artwork, they start hyper focusing on it, trying to fix it, and that's just gonna, you know, it's gonna draw more attention to it by giving it more contrast. It'll be darker than the rest of the area, or you know, more detailed than, you know, the areas around it. And you don't want that with your mistakes. You want to just kind of try and roll with the punches, so to speak. You know, if you hatch lines in the wrong direction, you know, just go with it. Maybe do that for a little bit instead, or you know, try and make it more consistent, like through the rest of the drawing. You know, if you hatch one way and then you accidentally do it a different direction, start alternating between the two. You know, there's tons of different ways you can approach it, but yeah, just make sure you have fun with it and take your time. A lot of these drawings I do, you know, especially this portion takes, you know, hours, and then it gets condensed down into, you know, 10 minutes or, you know, 15 minutes or 30 minutes or whatever, and you know, you don't realize how long it's actually taking. And it's, you know, the longer you take with it and the more patient you are with it, the better it's gonna, you know, look in the end. And yeah, taking breaks is super important, so don't forget to you know, stop and, you know, stretch out, maybe step out onto the patio for a minute, drink a cup of coffee, whatever. But you know, this is you know, make sure it's you're doing it for yourself, you know what I mean, like as a you know, as a gift to yourself almost, right? Like you're not doing this for anyone else. It's just, like I said earlier, just you, the pen and the paper, and nothing else. And It's really what makes it rewarding, at least for me anyways. And I hope it's rewarding for anyone else watching this. So.
All right, so now that we're all done with that, I like to finish off a drawing with just a little horizon line, unless I'm, doing something with a little more intent. I feel like this just makes it, look a little more finished, and it's just a little fun, simple, easy thing to do. So you take a ruler about so far up. I usually make sure there's like room to where you can kind of see it. Where you can kind of see it through the gaps in the, whatever I drew. Let's see, that looks pretty good. And then we're just gonna give it some little desert mountains here. So I think they look neat. You could put trees or, more weird alien stuff in the background if you want, or, whatever. I just like these far away little mountains. Happy little mountains, like old Bob would say. And I'm using my extra fine pen for this, just to give that a nice light line weight. Let it kind of disappear into the background a little bit. And you can choose to shade off of this if you want, or or just leave it as a line. I'm just going to do some little contour lines for the mountain peaks here, I think, on this one. So yeah, we'll do something kind of like that. Not get too detailed. We don't want it to overpower anything in the foreground. Just draw a couple little random lines there. It's just going to sit back there and nobody's ever going to look at it again, right? But without it, it would just look like it was floating. This kind of gives it a world to live in, right? I mean, I guess we could do a space background, right? That'd be cool. I wonder how I'd do that. Probably have to outline this in white. And then fill it in black and put little stars in there. Might try that sometime. Or maybe use black paper. That could be cool. Alright, we got our little horizon line. It kind of makes it look like it's somewhere. We could add some clouds in, or I'm going to add more of these little floating greeblies or whatever they are. Just little random shapes. I'm not even thinking about it too much. That one kind of looks like a shrimp. The old sky shrimp. Some little guys here. Gives it a little motion, I guess, Is it moving? I don't know. It's fun, though. There we go. Couple here, couple there. It's a big one. I guess we're going shrimp again. A little shrimp shape. We'll give him a antenna. He can call back to the shrimp home world. Let's see here. Another one right there. Because I feel like it. And then like a little group of 3 here. Yeah. might call that good. I'll take another look in a second. Connect these two. Let's see, couple down here. And maybe like one little speck there. Add in some little more random specks here and there. Oh no, I smudged it. It's one thing with these pens, you gotta be careful where you put your hand down. If the ink's not dry, you're gonna end up with a little happy accident. There we go. Alright, I'm thinking that's good. So last but not least, we just add our signature here. Sign it. Make sure that's nice and bold. Boop. Well, yeah. Thanks for watching. And if you have any questions for me or anything like that, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I try to respond to everything. I hope you had a good time with me today, and hopefully I'll see you on the next one. All right. Bye.